Hello, hello. This is Sheri from the Sheri K. Hoff Show. Welcome today. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm super excited about my fabulous guest. So let me tell you about my guest today. Armelle Cloche came to the US with nothing more than a suitcase in hand, a strong French accent, and diplomas she couldn't use. But she fell in love with America, and she was determined to make it work. Forward 30 years later, armed with courage, endurance, and luck, she proceeds to use social networking to meet the right people. The results: she is the founder and CEO of Armelle Productions, writer of more than 15 screenplays, a self-help book, a children's book, and a musical. But these were only the appetizers. The entrée is her newest creation, Super Immigrant, whose cutting-edge mission is to shine light on the positive impact of immigrants using fashion and apparel to inspire a more unified world. Welcome, Armelle. I'm just so delighted to have you here today. How are you?
And so am I. Hello, Sheri. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, well, we have lots to talk about. So, let's start with your journey. What was it like? What prompted the decision to come to the US, and tell me what it was like.
I was young, and honestly, I think it was madness. I had no idea that it was going to be that difficult. But it has to start somewhere like that. You have to be passionate about something. So here I am, I'm 15 years old, and a teacher comes to the classroom and says, hey, we're going to receive Americans from Boston. We're going to do an exchange. Who wants to receive them? And in exchange, you go to Boston for a few weeks to get to know how they go to school and how they live. And I was so social already because of my parents' upbringing around the world. I said, of course, I want to receive an American. So they matched me with Michelle in Boston. She came to the south of France, and then I had to go to Boston, and I fell in love with the United States immediately. I think I had a spiritual experience. And when they opened the door of the plane, I was actually not interested in the US at all. I was just going because it was part of the deal. And as soon as they opened the door of the plane, I saw my whole future in the country. And I felt like I was coming home, like I lived there before. And my American family picked me up, and we were driving to their house, which was an hour away from Boston. And I would see the American flags because Americans are so patriotic. In France, we don't look at our flag with value. But in the US, there were so many flags, and I started to cry. I literally started to cry like I was back home. So that's the reason when I was 20, I was planned. I prepped my studies to be between Paris and San Francisco. I planned my future. Okay, I'm going to study in the US, and then I'm going to stay there. And I didn't tell my parents at the time, but I had planned. And I had no idea it was going to take me 25 years to become American, and so many ups and downs. If you had told me, I would have went back home right away. But then it was too late. You just go, and then it becomes your country, your friends are there, your house is there, and you just cannot go backward. You have to continue forward, or you lose everything you've done.
Mm-hmm. So tell me what inspired you to start your company, Super Immigrant. And you can fill in the spaces. Like, obviously, there's things that happened between getting here at 20 and then deciding that you were going to change the worldview on legal immigration and the value that immigrants bring to countries.
So I'm going to quickly summarize what happened in between. Why suddenly I decided to create Super Immigrant. So I get in the US with my dream of making it in Hollywood as a screenwriter. So I come with my little screenplay, my musical at the time, and I think Hollywood is waiting for me. Of course, Hollywood is not waiting for Armelle. And I realize, I look at Hollywood Boulevard and I see all those people like me with big dreams that are on drugs or prostitute, and it scared the hell out of me. So I'm like, okay, Armelle, you better do something on the side and not rely on the movie industry. So I never stopped writing. I never stopped my dream about Hollywood, but I seriously took to make money, to have a steady job, to be able to feed myself. And that brought me to work in the financial industry, brought me to San Francisco financial world, where I worked for 15 years as an EA, which is very bizarre because I don't type. I have refused to type. And so I was the EA of very important executive in the financial world. I never typed, and I typed with one finger at the time, very fast. That finger is very fast, but it's still one finger. I have a strong accent, and I don't even speak perfectly English. But for whatever reason, my bosses loved me, and I grew the ladder. And I established myself. I bought my home in San Francisco. I started to make a good living, started to save, understand finance and investment. And from one to the other, I go to a place where now I left the financial world, that was never my dream. But at one point in 2019, I decided to work exclusively for my business, no longer for the company, and to travel the world, to become a nomad entrepreneur, semi-retired. And so that's what happened. And that's how I said, what am I going to do with my future? I felt blessed. I felt I had enough money now to be living a better life. And I wanted to pay back. And I said, what are the things that touch my heart? And it was immigration. Because really to go from nothing, my suitcase in hand by myself, to be a traveling the world entrepreneur, semi-retired, was, I was very blessed. I said, okay, I made it through the wall. I became like one of those immigrants who worked very hard and loved the US and paid tribute. He's now American. I'm French American, and with both passports, which delights me. And I wanted to pay back, and that's what I did with Super Immigrant. I was a little tired of the poor image of immigration, because, oh my God, do we work hard, and how do we care for the country, and we bring value, and I wanted to shine the light on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's such incredible vision, and especially now when I think, you and I talked about how I was talking about this concept with my mom, and, my family are like first and second generation Americans. Like my dad's parents were from Sweden, and my mom's grandparents were from Norway. And, so they both grew up hearing different languages spoken at home. And my mom said when she was growing up, immigration was the best thing. Like the idea and the thought around immigration, it was like bringing new people and new opportunities. And so I think it's really, in the last several years, people associate the word with not what it means. We're not talking about people trying to get into countries illegally. And we're talking about really a world population contributing and honoring this idea. And it's not just immigration into the US. I mean, you happen to come into the US, but one thing I love about your mission is you're talking about immigration around the world and how immigrants face issues when they go from one country to another. And, in some places they're, really welcomed, and other places they're not so welcomed. And so tell me how you plan to do this, because it's a huge undertaking. And in order to change, we kind of have to be that little stone that drops in the water and creates that ripple effect. So tell us what you're doing.
So Super Immigrant at the beginning was, I had a partner, and it was several years ago, and we didn't call it Super Immigrant. It was a service. It was how to make it in the USA. It was to help immigrants coming with legal advice, with encouragement, with emotional support, with direction, where to go, what to do, to save them time because of our experience. And then I saw a campaign. I was working on other projects, on other businesses, and I didn't put enough time at the time in how to make it in the USA. And one day I read a campaign, a brilliant marketing advertisement campaign in England done by Channel 4 for the paraplegic, the Olympics for people who are handicapped. And nobody wanted to see that because people were feeling ashamed to watch handicapped compete for sports. And so Channel number 4 decided to create this campaign called the Super Humans. And they transform the image they shine the light on all those paraplegics and people who were handicapped, but so brave, so amazingly brave that they will go and compete, although they will have only one arm or one leg, or they will be of short size or whatever it was. And they created this brilliant campaign that was so inspiring, making them be superhero and superhuman. And then by changing the vision of people, opening the audience eyes, people were so excited to see it. It was one of the greatest score of viewers in England, and they did it again in 2016 because people started to completely change their view. And it clicked in my mind. I said, wow, actually, that's what we do. The problems of immigration, like many other problems in the world, we have to go to the source. And the source is people are fearful. Right now, for many years, people are becoming more and more fearful, which explains the change of politics in the world, which extend the extremism, which explain all the terrorism, which explain many, many issues in the world. It's people being fearful to lose their country, their identity, their habits. And so I thought, what if we change people's vision by in the street where we live, you and I, everyone, in the bus, in the restaurants, in the gas station, anywhere, through apparel and accessories? What if we start to wear positive messages about immigration? What if we make super great marketing campaign and videos, adding singers and songs, and people will see, hey, Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist in the world, was an immigrant. Thank God, America is proud of him, but he's a German to start with. What about all of the jeans? We are wearing blue jeans every day. It's like the most popular apparel in the world. It was created by Levi-Strauss, etc., who was an immigrant, and a lot of fashion designers and artists and future politicians come from foreign country. And that's what I want to do. I suddenly realized by looking at the source and changing people's mind was maybe the way to help bringing people together and be more unified. And now I have to prove it.
Well, one thing I love is that you're doing this in a really fun way. So it's fashion items. And so I know you have an upcoming collection and you have a plan for, when you'll be releasing collections and what they entail. And you kind of have a fun.
For the 12th of July.
Yes.
12th of July.
Yes. And so tell us about the items and what they mean. I know there's a story behind which item, each item and why you choose it.
Yes. So I definitively want it to be very positive. The image of Super Immigrant, and when you go to the website, please do go to superimmigrant.com. You will see the logo is very bright, is very positive. And it also exists in 196 versions, one per country. So it's kind of cool when you get your apparel accessories, you can, if you feel like you are like me, French and American, you can have both logo. For you, Sweden, Norway. So it's really one, I think it's the first brand to have actually 196 versions. I wanted to do something different. Super Immigrant uses apparel and accessories to bring a message and to help change minds and open eyes and mentality. But it is not about fashion and apparel. So we are going to start with 5 items in each collection. So 4 collections a year, of course, the 4 seasons, and 5 items only. So I look at an immigrant and I say, what is the strength of an immigrant? Well, the immigrants, they walk very far, or they fly now, actually. They don't literally walk or take the boat. I mean, there is many ways to cross the world, but they go the distance. So there will always be a shoe collection. Each collection, you will find a different pair of shoe, symbolizing how far an immigrant can go. An immigrant is actually very smart because to make it, you go through so much difficulty and challenges and bullying on the way that you have to be super strong and you have to be super smart. So you will always have a hat, something for your head. It can be a cap or a hat or glasses, something to do with your head. That's the items number 2. Items number 3 is that immigrants have a heart. I mean, we all have a heart, but immigrants have a bleeding heart. They often leave their country of origin with sadness. They leave many friends behind. Often they leave part of their family behind. They never forget that. So they will, to symbolize the bleeding heart of an immigrant, there will be always a top, something to do with a top, a t-shirt, a sweater, a jacket, something to do with the top. That would be the item number 3. Item number 4 is an accessory because you have to be super resourceful to be an immigrant. So it can be a water bottle one time. And I think, actually, Sheri, you ordered a coffee mug, Super Immigrant, which
I did. I love it. I love it.
And did you choose the US? What did you choose as a logo on your coffee mug?
Okay, so the logo that I have is actually 4. It has the 4 places that a lot of a lot of immigrants come from to the United States. So, so I, and I'm don't have it next to me, so I don't even know if I can say, but I remember asking you, why are there, 4 different ones on this? And you said, well, it's because the majority of the immigrants in the US are from these countries. So I remember China is one of them, and Germany, I think.
And you have Canada, I believe, the United States, and I think that's it. That's your 4 logos that you have. And so that's the fun things. You can really customize it the way you want, according to where your heart is in the world. And so you can have a coffee mug, you can have an accessory of different kind. There will always be an accessory per collection. And the 5th item will be a surprise. Every time will be at the discretion of the creator, which is me. And every time will be something different. So I really encourage everyone listening to go on the first week of the 12th of July and see what is that new summer collection and the 5 items. And you can also order, you will be able to just get the logo of one of those 196 logo and customize on anything you want. You will be able to put a sticker on your car or on your school book, on whatever you want.
Well, this is just so inspiring. And I know that people can find you pretty much looking for Super Immigrant on any social media. You're on all the social media platforms. So people can check out what you're doing. And is there anything else, like, before we go here, what is the 1 or 2 things that you want people to take away or act on when they get done listening here today?
Well, it has been very, very dark those past few years, politically, and with the COVID-19 and all the changes in the world that became more and more closed, closing frontier and minds. That's been the result of these past few years. We can come back, everybody that I meet, all my friends, I'm blessed with a lot of friends, all the people I meet on my path, they all want a more joyful life, a more colorful life. They want to come back to unity. They want to come back to social progress, humanity. They want to come back to go to bed in peace, not with always heavy news and feeling in danger in the street and being attacked. And so we can do it. We don't have to be so sad about it anymore. We can definitively do it. I encourage people to do it with us, with Super Immigrant, to bring back unity between people in the world. And let's start with the country. Let's start with the USA. But also we can do that and we can apply this philosophy and this in everything. if we want more lightness and sunshine in our life and in the world, we've got to bring it. We've got to bring this message. We've got to bring this attitude. And I'm definitively trying to show the example. And I know you are, Sheri. That's what I love about you. In everything you do, like being a business coach, it's all about inspiring positivity and spirituality. And we have this in common. And I just want to encourage people to start doing it with whatever they do in their life and their jobs and their businesses. And we can all do it. Let's do it. Let's bring back colors in this world and lightness and positivity.
Oh, just beautiful. That gave me goosebumps. Thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners. And I want to remind you also to visit Armelle's website, superimmigrant.com, and you can visit sherikhoff.com, SherikayEHoff.com for some cool free gifts as well. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
What a pleasure.
Thank you.